Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. Well, it's getting to that really cheerful time of the year, the Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday season. So it's really a fun time to get the family together and make projects. And so this one is a Christmas tree. I used scrap fabric, scrap rickrack, and buttons that I had. So you don't need to buy a lot. Now, if you don't have any fabric or trims to use, then of course you can buy them at a lot of different stores. If you have a Walmart that carries fabric and craft items, check that place out. This is a tree garland. This is one that I recommend you get your kids to do because it is so easy. I recommend you, the adult, cut the fabric out and let them build and put the whole garland together. As you can see on my window, I made it for my window dressing. You can make it for your Christmas tree. You can make it any length that you want. All you need is some rope and fabric. Okay, let's get started. How much fabric you'll need depends on how long you want to make this garland. So measure your area. So the garland that I made for my window, the window is 66 inches wide, so I made the garland longer than that. You want to cut your strips 4 inches wide and about 20 inches long. Now my strips are pretty long. You don't have to cut them that long. You don't have to cut them that wide. But I wanted it to look really lush and large. So you could cut them narrower if you want. You might want to cut a few sample strips to see if you like the way it looks. Now I went through my fabric, and I have a lot of fabric, to see what I was low on. So I took those low quantity fabrics and cut them into strips because I wanted a big variety. So as you can see, I have a lot of different colors. So again, they're 4 inches wide by 20 inches long. Try not to put similar colors together. So you want it to look nice. So the first thing you want to do is tie a knot at the end of your rope. Then take one of your strips, and I'm going to be working from my right to the left. You can go left to right, it doesn't matter. And take it, and I folded it in half like this, and then place the approximate center of the strip. So after you folded it and put your rope in the middle, then just tie a very basic knot. And I only tie once, I didn't tie twice, because it's going to be very difficult for the knot to come undone. So I push it down to the knot at the end of the rope. So then I take the next strip and repeat it. Fold it, place the rope over the top, in the middle, and then tie it in a knot. So I've already done one out of each of the piles and tied them on here. Then after you've put the last one on, then you go over to the first stack again and repeat that process and fill it all the way up to the end of your rope. And then at this end of the rope, tie it in a knot. To make the Christmas tree ornament, take a piece of paper that is 8 inches square, then fold it in half. And then 2 inches from the bottom, right here, you're going to draw a line. And then from this point here up to this corner, place your ruler. Sorry, it's moving around so much. Place your ruler there and draw another line. One more line to draw is 3/4 of an inch away from the folded edge. Draw another line and then cut on the drawn lines. After cutting it out, then just unfold it, and there is your pattern. Now you can cut this any size you want. You can make the trunk shorter if you want, or longer, make the tree narrower, whatever you want to do. Then I like to trace it onto cardstock because it's much easier tracing around it onto your fabric. So when you get your fabric, then lay your pattern on top, trace around it. Then place pins on the fabric to hold it together, and then cut the tree out. Now here's one piece of fabric, so you only need to put your trims on one side. You can do both sides if you want, but it's not necessary. So I took some old Christmas fabric and I cut it into a strip, any width you want, it doesn't matter. And then I took the edges and folded them in and pressed it with my iron. Then placed it down and stitched on each side of the fabric. Then I took a piece of lace. I have a lot of little scrap pieces. I put the lace down there, stitched ribbon on the top, and I stitched on each side of the ribbon. You can even add more trims, crisscrossing things, add buttons, beads, it's whatever you want to do. Then you take your other piece of fabric, place it on top, and place pins all around the edges. After you've pinned everything, then you want to indicate an area that you're not going to stitch over, because we need a small opening to put the polyfill stuffing in. So here I've got 2 pins. This tells me this is where I want to stop stitching. Over here at the 1 pin, I want to start stitching. So you're going to back stitch here, stitch down towards this edge, stop a 1/4 inch away from the raw edge, leave your needle down, lift the presser foot and turn your fabric, and continue stitching. So you do that all the way around, and when you come to the 2 pins, you back stitch. So after you've done your stitching, at all the corners, you want to trim them down to where they're about 1/8 of an inch wide. So I'm going to do a clip across this part. Then I'm going to take a little bit off on each side of that. And this is so that there's not too much fabric to bunch up in that quarter. So you go around to the other corners, you got 5 altogether. Then you do a couple of more cuts. Right in here, you're going to cut at a diagonal. Now try not to go through your stitch line, and then come over here and do the same thing. And this is so that your corners lay correctly once you've turned it front side out. Now go in through this hole and begin turning it front side out. Take a really small stick, like a chopstick, and go in and poke your corners out as best you can. Now you're going to take polyfill stuffing, and you can find polyfill at a lot of stores on the internet, Etsy, Joann's, Walmart. Take a small piece and insert it through the opening here. Now you want to start filling in the corners first. There we go. Now you start with a small piece because it's easier to stuff it into the corners. Then take your stick and work it up towards that corner and pack it into the corner. So after I filled in these 2 corners, I filled the center in, then the trunk, and then go over and fill this corner in. Then you're going to fold these inside edges and pin it, and I'll show you how to close them up. So these 2 are finished except for the opening. So I've got the edges folded inside. Now there's 2 ways, well actually 3 ways, that you could close up these openings. If you don't like to do hand sewing and you don't understand the stitches, you can put a little bit of hot glue on that edge and glue the edges together. Not my favorite way. Or you could do a whip stitch, where always use the same color of thread that your fabric is. And you grab the edges, both edges, keep going across and whipping back and forth, going round and round. Or you could do a ladder stitch, which is a hidden stitch. Now that takes just a little bit more time, but it does look really nice. So if you're interested in learning how to do a ladder stitch, there will be a link listed below your YouTube screen in the description section. Now on the back, I took some twine. You can cut it any length you like, and I hot glued it. Remember, the back isn't going to be seen. It looks a little messy, but you can use other types of glue if you like. On this one, I managed to cut out of fabric where it said Merry Christmas on the fabric, so it looks great. Then I added some gold ribbon at the top. This one, real easy, did rickrack, and then I hot glued buttons on. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I also hope that I've inspired you to try some of these things. And don't be afraid to think outside the box and put your own little twist on these items. Remember, there's no rules in sewing and craft. Now, if you're interested in other beginner sewing projects, scroll down below the YouTube screen to the description section. Click on the words "Show More," and it will expand open and you will see links appearing. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and make sure you go and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl. This is Manny. See you next time.